Hello everybody, this is Mommy with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we're going to make an arrangement for a birthday. It's a $95 arrangement. We're going to do it in a glass container. This is just a glass vase. I filled it with fresh water, added a little bit of flower food, and we are going to add some greenery. So this is called leather leaf. And I am just going to take it and cut it at an angle and tuck it right into my glass vase. Now when you're making an arrangement in a vase or in any kind of container, make sure that you keep the foliage from hitting that water line. What happens is when the foliage hits the water line, it helps to promote the growth of bacteria in the water. So if you can keep that greenery out of the water, it's going to help keep your flowers fresher longer. So there's our little bit of leather leaf. Next, we're going to come in with a foliage we don't use very often. So this is called holly fern. And if you'll look at it close, it almost looks like holly, the foliage on holly. The wonderful part about holly fern is it doesn't bite like regular holly does. So I'm going to take some of this fun holly fern and tuck it right into my vase. I love different foliages because I love different texture, and I love the way the holly fern looks. All right, so we have our foliage in our vase. Next, we're going to come in with a few flowers. So I have lots of pretty blooms today. Bright colors, they wanted bright birthday colors, so that's exactly what we're doing here. We're going to come in first with some larkspur. So this is, oops, I caught my fern, didn't I? This larkspur is in a shade of purple. Larkspur comes in purple, in pinks, and in white. So it's just a pretty lime flower. Now an interesting thing is blue delphinium. Delphinium and larkspur are in the same family. And so larkspur would be considered a line flower. And you can see exactly why it's called a line flower. It's standing up straight like a line, right? And so I'm taking those flowers, cutting that stem at an angle, and tucking them right into my container. Next, I'm going to use a second line flower. This is called stock. Now, if you've watched me design any amount of time, you see me use stock a lot. Stock comes in lots of colors. This is purple. And so I'm going to take my stock. Now, I will say stock is a little chunkier than larkspur is. It's a little heavier in weight, but I would consider it still a line flower. So I'm going to take that stem and cut it at an angle and nestle him right down into that foliage. You can pull off some of the greenery. If ever the greenery on the flower is going to hit that water line, be sure to go ahead and take that off. But if it's not going to hit the water line, leave it on there if you can, if it looks pretty. All right, the wonderful part about stock though is it smells lovely. It really smells so pretty. So there is our lark and our stock. Next, we're going to come in with some mini green hydrangeas. So mini green hydrangeas are actually the buds of white hydrangeas. They're just brand new buds. So see how pretty, they're just a pretty light green. And of course they're mini because they're just the buds. But I'm going to take those, cut that stem at an angle, and nestle him right down into this floral arrangement. We like to leave these sleeves on our hydrangeas because if they get too close to that metal wall, these sleeves protect the bloom from getting blistered. Because sometimes the metal wall of the cooler will get a little cool, and so it might blister those hydrangeas. Turn that around, and I'm going to add this third bloom right back here. You see, I am removing this foliage, and it's because I want the flowers to get the water, so I'm just going ahead and removing that foliage. So anytime you have lots of foliage on a hydrangea, the first thing the water goes to is the greenery. So if you'll remove the greenery from the hydrangea, then the first thing it goes to is the head. the bloom of the flower. So there's our green hydrangeas. Next, we're going to come in with these really pretty yellow mums. So a hydrangea, I would call a mass flower. All right, so the next flower I'm using is a mum, and we call this a face flower. You see how it's kind of flat? It kind of looks like a round face. So I'm going to take that stem, cut it at an angle, and tuck him. I love those bright yellow mums. They're happy. And I'm just kind of taking them and tucking them all the way around. Chrysanthemums come in lots of varieties. So you're going to see a lot of times I use mums in lots of different varieties. And so this is, I guess this would be a disbud. Okay, next we're going to come in with some thistle, blue thistle. I love thistle. It's such a pretty color and kind of a fun texture. So I'm going to use this as a filler flower. So we're just going to kind of tuck that in here and there as a filler. See that pretty blue? And then we have some Veronica. Now Veronica is, I don't know if you call this a filler flower, if you call it a line flower. I think it's just a fun little pop of color. And so I'm gonna take this Veronica and cut that stem and just tuck these little points in. Now this is a pretty pink, but it comes in a purple, it comes in a white, kind of a lavender, different shades of pink. It's really pretty. And I love that it's just a different texture and just something fun. All right, there's our Veronica tucked in. Next, we're going to come in with some Solidago. Now, Solidago is a true filler, just a yellow, fun filler. I'm going to strip off that foliage, cut that stem at an angle, and just tuck that filler flower in. Isn't it interesting though that all flowers have a job? Some are lines and some are fillers, some give us height and some give us mass. Next we're coming in with some pretty orange spray roses. These are called Orange Babe spray roses. We get them often just because they really make flower arrangements happy with this pop of orange color. Now there are several different varieties of spray roses and standard roses. So roses come in lots of different varieties. But I do love this fun pop of orange added into an arrangement. It does just give a kiss of happiness. Okay, and here comes our last flower. Now our last flower is a coral rose. I'm not exactly sure the variety of this rose, but it's just a really pretty coral color. I'm taking and removing any of the petals that don't look pretty. Just go ahead and pop those off. You're not going to hurt your rose. All right. Take some of that foliage off low on that stem. I'm going to grab a couple of wires. And I'm going to cut this wire in 3 different small pieces. And I'm going to wire these stems. So this is just a florist wire. I'm going to press it into the calyx right under that rose. And what this is doing is it's just making sure that this rose is going to stand up and he's going to stay firm, standing up. Now I would call a rose a focal flower. It's a pretty flower, and so it's a focal. So I'm going to take and turn my arrangement around. I just nestled him in right there. You have to be kind of careful. These roses have lots of little thorns, so they're kind of hard to cut. pretty roses there. And then I'm going to take this last stem. He's really in a very tight bud state. Tuck him up a little taller. Now to finish off this arrangement, I am going to add a little bit of eucalyptus. So this is just a pretty, now I'm going to mispronounce this because I always do. I have always called it parfolia, but I think it's pronounced a little differently than that, but you know, I'm blaming that on my southern accent. Go. I'm coming all the way around this vase with this eucalyptus. I'm just breaking it off into smaller pieces. Now look at how pretty of a texture the eucalyptus is. It just adds a pretty pop of a filler and just a pretty texture. To me, there's something about pretty foliage that really makes an arrangement look nice. All right, and there is our finished arrangement. Now the flowers we chose for this arrangement, we chose larkspur, which was the line flower, and stock. This is called Veronica, which is kind of a fun little line, but a filler. This is thistle, blue thistle, yellow solidago here, orange spray roses, mini green hydrangeas, some yellow disbud mums, and some coral colored standard roses. Our greenery we used include leather leaf. We used some holly fern and a little bit of eucalyptus. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions about how we do things here, you know you can always ask. Drop that right here in the comments below. So happy to answer your questions. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you here. Hit that little bell down below and it'll give you notifications for when we have a new video. Thanks guys, have a great day.